Friends, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important topic for all of us, the guidelines for cleaning, disinfection of flexible endoscopy. Because the risk of infection is always there and we need to protect our patients from all this infection, and also while our staffs are trying to disinfect the scope, they should not have any problem because of the germicides with which they are coming in contact. And also the scopes, as we all know, are very delicate, they should not be damaged. So for all these things we need to understand the basic principles of how to clean and disinfect the scope. Because if you see any procedure for that matter, it should be reliable, safe and also cost effective. Endoscopy, we all know, unlike a laparoscopy, is a semi-critical device as per the Spalding classification. What do you mean by semi-critical? Because if you see carefully this, whenever an equipment enters a sterile body cavity like a peritoneal pleural cavity, they become a critical devices like a laparoscopy or arthroscopy. They need sterilization, where an elimination of all the living organisms with all the spores. Whereas semi-critical means there is always a mucosal barrier, like doing an endoscopy here. Unless we breach the mucosa by giving an injection or doing a procedure like a dilatation or a polypectomy, it is to some extent guards against the infection. So it is enough to have what I call a high level disinfection, wherein we eliminate all the microorganisms, but some spores can still thrive on that. Whereas a non-critical devices are there, and that I don't think we need to worry about as of now. And coming to the disinfection cycle here, whenever we do an endoscopy, in the endoscopy unit, the scope has to be pre-cleaned, leak tested and mechanically washed, then dwell in a disinfection fluid for a self dwelling time of about 20 minutes or so. Then you need to rinse it, dry it, either store it or you go for the next use. So this is called the disinfection cycle. What do you mean by pre-cleaning? As soon as we take the scope from the patient, we need to, as demonstrated here, clean the outer area from saliva and blood, suck about 200 ml of clean water or also some antiseptic solution through the channels, so that clean that area, the gross decontamination. This is what we do. Once we have done that, then you need to do a leak testing. This will ensure there is no leak in the rubber on the outside, in the bending section especially, so that all the electronic circuits are safe. So the leak test has to be done after every endoscopy and colonoscopy. That should not be underestimated. Once the leak test is okay, then we go for what we call a mechanical cleaning, flushing and brushing. We can do in this modern procedure like this, or we can go and remove all this button and take the brush and go through the biopsy channel, through the suction channel. Be very gentle because scopes is very delicate and all these long narrow lumens need careful attention. Even we have a special brushes like this in order to clean these areas and also the tip of the scope. Cleaning has to be thorough because the bioburden, 99% of all the bacteria and all the biological products or organic materials can be cleaned by this. That's why it is very, very important. Sometimes people advocate using something like this ultrasonic cleaner or scope buddy. So these are all famously used now in order to rinse the interior. After proper cleaning, then you dwell it in what I call a parasitic acid or a Sidex OPA disinfection with a set dwelling time. And we need to ensure, even though the Sidex can be kept for about shelf life of 2 weeks, you have to check the pH is of adequate. If it is 2.4% or a 3.4%, whether it is all, there are some special indicators are available, you have to use them in order to know the efficacy of this high level disinfection. In the high volume centers, they do what we call automated washer and disinfector, and that if it is available, it is very user friendly and more reliable. Gas plasma sterilization is one way of sterilizing all these flexible equipments, but here because it is a very short tray, we can't put a lot of equipments inside, but I am sure there are reprocessing of various accessories can be done with these events, and you need to have a special areas where we can store the equipment, and you should know how to carry them, because colonoscopy is 160 centimeter, often it is taller than you. So whether to hold it something like that or hold it with the two hands with a control head and the tip of the scope, one has to teach the staff nurse accordingly. So friends, understand, as soon as we finish the procedure, we need to do a pre-cleaning, then do a leak test. Then either mechanical or machine washing sterilization method is important. Whatever we do, we should be very vigilant, so that nowadays with the so many different infections are coming, you should be very careful in order to have a disinfected scope. So the safety has to be ensured in everyday endoscopy practice. I am sure the subsequent video is going to tell you some simple practical steps in the next 10 minutes. Thank you very much.
The scope is just out of the patient's oral cavity, but still connected to the machine, you imagine, and it is having some dirt, for example blood stained saliva on the surface. So you do an important procedure that is called a pre-cleaning. Just to clean the outer with a gauze piece to start with, and then throw it away, and then you do 2 or 3 times. Then you have some antiseptic lotion like a Savlon or anything, especially this part, because this is called simple decontamination. This is not a disinfection. Once you have done that, the next important thing is you go and have a basin where you just start sucking. When you start sucking, then all the fluid, at least 200-300 fluid will go in and clean the channel also inside. So outside, inside, gross decontamination, that is step number 1. Step number 2 is you watch what I am doing it here. Just for this demonstration, I have taken you another scope here. This scope is actually immersed inside. Okay, that is, once you have done that, still the scope is connected, but now connected with a special equipment to do a test called leak test. You may wonder what is leak test. I never done it, but this is the reason why we are doing it here, this particular thing. So leak tester is the one which ensures there is no micro perforation within the scope. For that, what we have done is, see, for example, here we have attached to the side of the scope, here there is a special, each company has a various ways of doing, and the principle is same. What is the principle? You have a machine which puts the air under pressure. Here the air is supplied by the same air feeder from the machine. When you switch it on, it goes and it insufflates the whole scope. The scope is now like a cycle tire, it's insufflated, and you immerse it inside, and when you put the air, if there is a micro perforation, what you see in the cycle tire or a tube tire, you will see bubbles come. Bubbles should not come. If bubbles are here, that should be an expensive mistake, because if there is a bubbles here, water can go inside, cause all the electronics on the channels, processor can damage, expensive damage. So you should feel, you have to feel, cry for this problem. So bubbles here, tears here, that's what I used to say. So we just put the machine on, it is on now, and look at this, it is now pressurized, but still I don't see a bubble. Good, but don't stop with that. These are the wheels here, you carefully see. These wheels, you just go, rotate the big wheel, rotate the small wheel, so that you stress the lower end such a way, even a small thing, the rubber is stretched, because when you do this way, so whenever you do one stretching on either side, the bubbles might come. So even after turning the wheel, putting into acute tension, there is no extravasation of air, there is no, then air insufflation test, there is no leak. That is good. then only you should go for the next stage, and that is brushing and brushing. That is, you need to clean inside. So for that, what you need is a brush that is going to clean the inside. So there are two sides to the endoscopy. One, of course, I am going to show is the access channel. See, through the access channel, if I go here, it will come out here, and as I retreat, I just take, see, you see what I am doing here. So you have to see in the to and fro movements, like that, and slowly withdraw, so that the whole channel from the tip of the scope to the access channel is cleaned nicely, because that is the area all the blood stained proteinous material is there. And then you take this thing, but still it is not over, because there is another part, that is the umbilical cord, which goes to the equipment, that has to be cleaned. So the superior button, you take it out, through which you have to pass this, and it will reach inside through the umbilical cord. In order to show that only, now we have disconnected the instrument for you to see, because this instrument is going to the mother, that is there, the processor, and at that end, through the umbilical cord, actually it is going. This is equally important. Don't just keep on cleaning only the insertion section. Equally important is the umbilical cord, because it has all the tubes going and to the final destination, to the processor. So you go in there until you see it is the very end. See, you can see it coming out the other end. So that means it is coming okay, then withdraw it, like what I said before, to and fro movement, like that. You keep on cleaning, you take your time. If you hold it here, for example, it will buckle. If you hold it very close, it will be very effective. Without buckling, you do it like this. See, this is the way you have to clean, and you teach your staffs or make them learn this technique from the technical people who are coming from the company from which you bought the scope, so that they know the better, because the longevity of the scope depends upon how good you are cleaning. It should be as new as ever, and also it should be kept once it's dried in a very ventilated cupboard. So all those things are very, very important. Those things only we discussed in the earlier slides in the background. So you just do that way. Then if this is brushing, then again it is not enough. You have to flush the interior of this to have something like a bladder syringe, both through the access channel and also through this infiltrate. Now once you have done that, wipe the whole thing, then you immerse in the Sidex. So for that we need another tray that I will show you in a minute. So this is actually a Sidex 2.4. You can use Sidex 2.4 or Sidex OPA or paracetic acid. Any of these things, depending upon what you use, the time you have to keep it inside varies. For example, the Sidex what we have here is about 20 minutes you have to patiently wait. If you have too many patients, you have to have many scopes so that you have a circulation of the cases in such a way. If you are paracetic acid, it is about 10 minutes.